All right, welcome to the Golden Belt Buckle podcast. I was going to continue my series on these other videos, Driver Inc. and the LMIA abuses, and I was going to go on and talk about the Humboldt crash back in, was it like 2016 or something? It was a while back. And then I was going to go on and talk about the importance of driver training, all that sort of stuff. And then this horrible accident happened on Florida Turnpike, and that just kind of changed the entire trajectory of what I was going to talk about today. I mean, unless you're living under a rock, you saw the footage of a fella, a Sikh-looking gentleman had his turban on there, doing an illegal U-turn on a Florida Turnpike, and it just nonchalantly turns in the middle of the freeway, takes out that van, and then he just, the look on his face is just like, well, that was inconvenient. Didn't seem too shocked by what he did. Didn't seem like he had much remorse. That was my initial take. He could have been in shock. I don't know. But anyway, so the number of lessons or thoughts that went through my head, just insane. But number one, for my Canadian watchers, my Canadian subscribers, if you're wondering why Mr. Trump is cleaning house, this is why right here. And again, I'll reiterate to you, it wouldn't matter what your skin color was. Anybody, whether you're white or brown or black or red, if you pulled a stunt like that in the States, you would be basically giving fuel for the fire of the nationalist movement that's saying, get the foreigners out of here, right? In this man's case, he has been arrested now. He's been charged. He was an illegal alien. Somehow he got a CDL in the States. He's undocumented. He's been there since 2018. He has been arrested and charged with 3 counts of vehicular homicide, and he is to be charged and probably going to go to prison. And when he's out of prison, from what I'm reading, that's when he's going to be deported. So I don't know how they run these sentences in the states. The reason I was looking into the Humboldt crash is because that fella there, he killed 16 people just running a stop sign, just right through. No, just killed them. And they ran his sentence, all 16 counts were run concurrently, meaning all beside each other. Not one after the other, but all beside each other. And he ended up serving 8 years. He's out. He never even got deported from Canada. He's still here now, apparently. I was just reading about him. He's fighting to stay in the country because he's got a Canadian wife and he's got a kid. I guess the kid's not doing good. So he's wanting to stay. He's fighting to stay on humanitarian grounds. He doesn't want to go back. So this company back in the Florida Turnpike instance, I did some digging last night. I was trying to find out. There was a passerby that got the DOT numbers off the side of the truck. I was looking at all the images, trying to figure out who this company was here. And I mean, there's nothing big. I mean, I found the passerby recorded the DOT numbers and then did some searches and then found out this company here. They're a small company from California. I think it's Ceres, CERES. And there's only about, from what I found, there's only about 8 trucks. They didn't have a horrible record up to this point. Most of the things that they were put out of service for were, which could be pertinent to this, they were logbook violations, right? A few of them were severe. Some of them were minor, just keeping bad logs. Some of it was like fraudulent logs or, just things like that, working too many hours. But they didn't look like a horrible company. When I typed in the address, I got somebody's house. So I don't know what the deal. I guess that's a common thing. You just need a house or something like that. You need an address, right? So that's your company. So that's pretty much the gist of this trucking company. It's a small fleet owned by looks like another East Indian, Can't remember. way to pronounce the last name. Anyways, I'll put the name in the description. It was too complicated to actually pronounce. It's like Navneet or something like that. Anyways, so it looks like it's owned by a female. I don't know if she actually owns it or if her husband just put her name down if they own it. But because this guy was undocumented, from what I'm gathering about this, the owner could be in some deep trouble as well. If they knowingly hired a non-documented worker to drive their trucks, if it can be shown they did that on purpose just for the sake of getting somebody in their truck and getting the thing going down the road, they are themselves liable to criminal prosecution and civil penalties and all that sort of stuff. So what I hope out of this is that they don't just take this trucking company and then, okay, we're a corporation and now the corporation got sued, we're going to lose our trucking company, and then they just start a chameleon company and do the whole thing all over again. That's what I hope. I hope that they actually put the kibosh on them and don't let them start another company. So the odd thing is that's not really what I want to talk about today. So that's really all there is about this. The guy killed 3 people. He has now been finally arrested, charged, and now we just wait and see, right? The company is in hot water. They're probably going to be in hot water. So that's all we know. Condolences to all the families involved and all that. But this whole thing and why I wanted to talk about Humboldt was that it just got me thinking of some of the licensing mills. That fella who got into the Humboldt accident, if for those who don't know, if you're an American watching this, it was in Saskatchewan. There was an East Indian fella. He had got his driver's license. He wasn't like an unskilled guy. He had been here already for 3 years. Apparently, he had earned a business degree. So I think he was speaking proficient English. I mean, he got a business degree in Canada, if I recall correctly. And he wanted to find a job quickly, and he wanted to get his path to citizenship or permanent status. And getting a job driving a truck in Canada is one of those. It's a good paying job. It's relatively easy to get into. So a lot of East Indians seem to be attracted to doing this for a living. Now that's their motive for wanting to drive a truck. And the owners, it seems to me that their motive is that they're more easily exploited, right? The owners of these companies, they exploit these immigrants coming over, they're literally trying to make a better life for themselves, right? And the owners of the companies take advantage of that. I went and did a video about the LMIA scandals and all that, the fraud. Go check out that video. And so they come over here looking for a better life. Well, this guy here, he went to a licensing mill. He had about 1 week of training. Then he got his AZ license. In Alberta at the time, it was kind of like it's like the Wild West, right? They had driver certification programs, and we still have those today, but there was more of them. It was less regulated. So he went to it was Ashdale Trucking, and he went to the Ashdale Trucking School, and the Ashdale Trucking School was owned by the same company that he went and worked for. And Ashdale had probably, I don't know, I couldn't find this for sure, but in the environment, considering how quickly he got his license, they probably certified him themselves. They probably did his road test instead of him going to a drive test center. So he only had about a week of training, and then he had less than 4 weeks, less than 5 actually. 5, I'm being generous when I say 5. It was less than that when he got on the road and he ran the stop sign and killed all those people. And then it got me thinking about my own license when I first got mine. Under the new rules of MELT, you have to have 32 hours of driving before you get your license. Well, back in the day, I had 40. And I think about how dangerous I was when I first started driving. I was 22. I just turned 22 years old. And I was young. I was full of piss and vinegar. I had no patience for anything. And I would do the same thing that this Harvinger, whatever this guy is, the same thing he just did on that Florida Turnpike. I might not have done that, but I did some equally stupid things. I just didn't do that thing. You know, people say you're expected to be a professional, but when you look at the training look at the training I had, the way things were just done back then, and then you look at this guy here, the training he probably didn't have. He probably had less training than I did. It's not shocking to me these things happen, and it's really not. It's not professional. I don't know any other. Profession where you'd put someone in charge of this kind of equipment with such little respect for how dangerous it could be, and then just send them down the road with even 40 hours worth of training, like I had, right? It just goes to show there is a lack of respect in this industry. Trucking, that the attitude that government has toward it is that any monkey could drive a truck. It's not a skilled trade, it's unskilled labor. That seems to be the attitude about it. And the training reflects that. Today, you get driver trainers. I just saw the CBC report. That trainer was doing the LMIA scandal, that today, here in 2025, a guy's telling me his driver trainer had a week worth of driving. That was his trainer. He got in the truck a week before this guy, and then he's training somebody. You know, you get other companies, they'll set you up with a driver trainer. The driver trainer goes to sleep in the back, and you're expected just to drive. That's how my trainer trained me. I would drive my 5, he would drive his 5. I'd go in the back, sleep, he'd go in the back and sleep. And that's not training. He would come up and yell at me every now and again, but that's not training. It's the complete lack of respect. And it's almost like a naivety or something that people have about how dangerous these trucks are. You could be driving anywhere from 80,000 pounds to 120,000 pounds of cargo in one of these things. Well, gross vehicle weight. And for some reason, the government thinks it's okay to just put someone with minimal training behind the wheel and send them on their way. Idiot truck owners, the idiots, they like these guys here. They're probably going to pay for this. They want to make the money quickly, right? So they throw some unqualified guy in the truck, and he goes and does this stunt on the Florida Turnpike. He ends up killing 3 people, and the company is probably, the owners themselves are probably not get away with this. At least from what I'm reading, it sounds like they're going to be liable if it's found out that they knew he was undocumented. So there's just a lack of respect in this industry for what we actually do. Even now in Ontario, you've got this MELT program, the mandatory entry-level training. You must have 32 hours of behind-the-wheel time before you can actually get your AZ. For American drivers, that's your CDL equivalent, your AZ. You have to have 32 hours. I had 40 back in 2002. And even this MELT program, they're already finding that there's a lot of fraud happening with this, because all the legislation says is that you have to have 32 hours of driving and in total 103.5 hours of total training. And so what's being found is that companies are compressing this 103 hours into as few days as possible, so the information can't even sink in. I've even found cases of them fraudulent, like they'll give the driver the 32 hours of driving, but then falsify the rest of the work or some of it. They'll pad it, or they'll make it look like you had more time than you actually did. So, and then on top of this, there's 120 registered trucking schools in the GTA. Just in the GTA, there's 120 trucking schools. And there's like 4 officers to audit all of them. They don't even all have special training. I will put all these links in here, by the way. Everything I'm talking to you about, I'll put it in so you can read it yourself. They don't even have enough auditors to audit them. And when the auditors do audit them, the auditors aren't even specialized in trucking. So because of Humboldt, apparently that MELT program, that all started because of the Humboldt incident, where 16 hockey players were killed in a bus accident when that truck hit them. And then even with MELT, these people still find ways to get around it. And the government they're doing something, but it's obviously not enough. And I look back at my training. I'll end with this. I don't want to keep this going all day here, but my training, I had 40 hours of driving. I don't know how long the class was. I don't know. They taught me how to use a logbook and all that, but I will tell you what I did. But I'm not even going to tell you that part of the story. I'm cutting that out. But anyways, I was going to tell you this story. I don't think I should because I'm embarrassed and ashamed by it. I don't want to talk about how I was driving. I can just tell you I did some really stupid things. For any young driver watching, just take your time. Whether you're paid by the mile or paid by the hour, I understand when you're paid by the mile, you want to get it done as quick as you can. It's not a good, being paid by the mile is not exactly the best way to make drivers take their time because every mile is money, right? But just take your time. It doesn't make much of a difference on your day if you take your time or you don't. It really doesn't in the grand scheme of things. So, you have to have a respect. Governments, business owners, drivers, you must have a healthy respect for what these trucks can do. I won't tell you what I did, but I'll tell you what I saw in Dunkirk, Ohio. I remember I was driving north on Highway 68 with a load of auto parts, and there was a house that had a hole in it. Anyone watching this, if you remember that day, we were backed up for miles. We had to take a funny way to get around because we could get up near it. You could get up close enough to see it. The house had a hole in it. When these trucks hit a house, it's not like a car they're smashing into, maybe they'll stop in the living room. This truck went clean through the house, like just right through the house. And no one died. Maybe no one was there, but if you were upstairs using the bathroom, you would have heard a crash. Someone was going underneath you. Like the upstairs was still there, but there was a hollow hole in the middle of the house. He went right on through. That's the kind of power that these trucks have. That's the kind of damage that they do. So if you're a new driver watching this, you need to have a healthy fear of what it is you're driving. Because if you kill someone, especially now, you kill someone in the States, you're a Canadian, you kill someone in the States, you're going to have a really rough time. Like I said, they're cleaning house. And it's not going to matter what color you are. Wouldn't have mattered who it was that did this. But now, in this environment, this just adds fuel to the fire, and it just justifies everything ICE has been doing, right? Here's another illegal, killing our people, right? In our case, say you're a Canadian, you go over there, you kill someone, that'll just give fuel to the fire to the states. I mentioned in another video that want to ban all CDL drivers that aren't American right out of their country. So anyway, that's all I got today. I'm sorry, the condolences to everybody. Kind of video got all messed up because this accident, it's what everyone's talking about right now. So it kind of put a monkey wrench into how I was going to present it. But anyways, that's what I got for you today. Oh, and before I go, don't forget, if you like the material, please like and subscribe. Stay up to date. And other than that, keep the rubber side down. Take care.